We're live. Yay. Okay. I'm going to share to different places.
Me too.
Okay.
That I can do.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Say hello as you're hopping on. Just sharing right now. We're doing illuminated archetype readings. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing because I don't know where you're sharing to. Okay, hello and welcome. We're doing illuminated archetype mini readings. So we usually do these from the comment thread, the post that we post in either Living Matrix or Your Life by Design. We also sometimes post in Gene Keys Global. This time is a special treat because people did end up giving us their human design charts too. So we're going to be using both human design and Gene Keys and bridging the gap between the two. So we'll see what shows up. Some people only had it in their human design chart and didn't have it in their Gene Key profile. So we're going to look and see what that's like. I think that we have about 11 people. I don't know if we'll get, or 12 people. I don't know if we'll get to everybody, but we will definitely try. And then we have, actually tomorrow, we have a full-length illuminated archetype with our guest. I believe her name is Tori. And we're gonna do her charts as well and see how the Nourisher shows up in her design. So that our Thursdays normally are full paying clients that we take and bring live, and then usually we go live on Tuesday, but Tuesday didn't happen, so we're going live today for the mini readings. And I'm excited to see if anybody is on that actually commented in the thread, and seeing if you can comment live. If you're here, say hello. I'd love to see some comments. Let us know if you're familiar with Gene Keys or human design or both, where you're at. Do you feel like you're 1, a novice, 2, been studying for a couple years, 3, an expert? And I'd love to see who we got on live with us tonight. And if you want to tell us where you're coming from, that's awesome too. So I am going to just share my screen now, and we'll just get started.
Now, I guess today we have people from either the West Coast in the US or Australia and Asia, because it is really late in Europe and even here on the East Coast. So.
Yeah, it is very late. Okay. Let me see. I'm not going to be able to. There. I'll look at the comments while I'm doing this. Okay, perfect. So we are going to dive into Christina's chart. She's a reflector. We're doing a reflector first. So I'll make this bigger so you guys can see. Bella, do you have it pulled up on your computer? Because I don't know.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, cool. So we're doing that. We're doing Archetype 27, which is the Nourisher. We're also doing Archetype 24, which is in transit right now. This one we call the Inventor. And you can go on the 64doors.com and you can see these 2 archetypes. They're already up. You can go to the doors and you can learn more about them. But we are going to be illuminating them in the chart and kind of talking about how they maybe show up in these people's profiles. So Christina has it in her culture sphere, 24.2, and in her radiant sphere, 24.6. So very big part of her design. Let's see where this goes. I feel like I normally see a lot of reflectors with this incarnation cross, the 33, 19, 24, and 44. I think that it's important for a reflector to have the 44 because it really helps them call in their tribe and the people that they're meant to serve, and also who's meant to help them. Mm-hmm. So with the 24.6, This person's a 3-6, which is an even rare. They're a reflector and they have a 3-6 profile, which is a rare profile. So a rare type, a rare profile. Of course, they need to call in their tribe. What are you getting for this particular design?
Yeah, I mean, I am getting. I'm looking at the moon, which is 28.4. So it is a risk taker. You know, what drives you is to take risks, and it's a Scorpio gate. In that 40, in that 28. And I also feel like when I look at the pearl, it's like your own unique style, and it's also fourth line. So kind of feeling like it's, you don't have anything. It's very rare to have 3 centers with nothing in it. So the G center is completely open, the ego is completely open, the emotion is completely open, and you're ground. Like I would say that even though you are a 3-6, it's like your heart for me stands up because your drive is the fourth line, your pearl is the fourth line. So there is a lot of heart. Your SQ is the fourth line. And so that stands out for me. And also the fact your throat is so it's very, very defined, but it's defined, right? So there is so much about expression, and I'm wondering, you know, what that has, because the expression when it's open is not consistent, but there is this urge to express. So I'm wondering, what are you expressing in the world? And you have been a 3-3 up until your Saturn return, because your sixth line was in trial and error for the first 28, 30 years. So I feel like there has been a lot of going into the places, and with your sensitivity. I mean, I feel like the first 30 years have probably been very intense, and I'm wondering about the worthiness, valuing yourself, being able to know the emotions that are yours and that aren't. Have you been avoiding conflict? I see with the open G as well, we have Simone who's channeling our soul conversations for 64 doors, and she also has a completely open heart. So I'm wondering, what are you channeling? What's coming in, and how is it being expressed? And I feel you have so many different ways, because there's so many gates in the throat that you can choose to express from. And I think you have at least 3 conscious activations, and then at least 3 design or unconscious activations. These are the things that stand out for me.
I see the Inventor shows up 3 times in her chart. As far as I can see. Nope, 4 times. I'm sorry, 4 times. Crazy. She has it in her South Node, 24.1, South Node Unconscious, 24.6, Radiance, 24.6, and 24.2 in her culture. So lots of, I mean, and it's exalted in so many places. So I'd say that she can really get into that gap so that she can receive. So not only is it easy for her to get into the gap, and it may have taken it's her past direction. She's been there, done that. That's what she learned how to do in the past. And now with her soul fractal coming into her environment and into her awareness, she's able to channel for those people. She has probably very, I don't use the term soul contracts a lot, but that's what I'm feeling and saying right now is she's got a lot of soul contracts with people she's meant to share her voice and channeling with, connecting to those people and channeling for those people. That's kind of what I'm feeling. I see the second line in her culture sphere. This Inventor's meant to have that biofeedback loop between just her and someone else. So being in that intimate kind of conversation to bring through those inventive ideas and epiphanies for those people, I guess. That's kind of what I'm pulling through. It's really cool to see the 24 so many times in a design. I feel like you've had a lot of experience with that, with the Inventor archetype.
Yeah, and two more short things. I do feel also the second line in the attractions. There is, and it's tribal. The 19 is tribal, the 45 is tribal. So there is something with the mirroring, the merging, the intimacy that it's there, where it's, I feel like that's part of your pathway of individuation. That's where unique style comes out. That's one thing. And then there's one more thing. Yeah, I'm thinking about the conjunction that we have had Pluto in the 61 for quite a while, but there's been these conjunctions with Mercury, with Jupiter, with Saturn. So I'm also thinking that 24 has had its harmonic gate. So your 61, there's something where I feel like those years this year and going into next year, there might be some new inspiration that's been consistent in you. And I almost feel like maybe that's what you're going to take out in the world and express in the coming years somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so cool. Such a cool design. I think let's move on to the next one. So thank you, Christina, for sharing your charts with us. The next one is Demaya. Demaya has the 27 and the 24. Beautiful. She has the 27 in her 0.1 in her vocation, the Nourisher in her vocation, also where her core wounding is, and the Inventor in her radiant sphere. So awesome. I'll look and see if it's anywhere else in her chart as well. We can look through this is where you would look as well and seeing if, okay, is there 24 or 27 here? No. 24, 27. Yeah. So just in her pearls, sorry, not her pearl. Well, yeah, her pearl sequence and her activation sequence is where it shows up.
It's funny, actually, we always usually look at human design first. So in the other mini readings, we've always only had basically the gene keys. And now, since I usually look first at how things move in the body, I find myself like drawn to human design, which is fun. I mean, I feel like there is something with a split here, because this is a generator, because the sacral is defined. And there is this split between, it's at least, yeah, I think, where is it a triple split? Let's see. It's even a triple. Oh, okay, it's a triple split, because I was seeing the split that goes between the throat and the ajna are by themselves, and then I was seeing that the whole next part is by itself. I just feel there is something that wants me, like, to say here, it's so important for you to really be grounded in your sacral energy, to respond to life in the moment. You know the truth in the now. You don't have an emotional center defined. So the way that you would respond to like plates of food in front of you, knowing which one you want to go for, that's how you're responding to life. And I see that too in your SQ being the second gene key. And it's that line in the line companion is called intuition. So what I really feel like you are here to respond to your life in the moment. You can be a powerful transmitter of any message, but it really comes from you being grounded in your sacral, from having that orientation, the second gene key, the power that comes from the 14 that you have several times. That's part of your creativity. And that's where your groundedness is. When you're grounded in your sacral authority, you have the keys to open up anything in your life and to be a messenger that is powerful. Just make sure that your throat and your ajna are, not distracting you away from being a generator. That's your superpowers. The throat and the ajna come in and can be amazing. It's living by the senses. It's a million ideas, but you always want to make sure that you're grounded in your body, grounded in your sacral authority.
Mm-hmm. Having that inventor archetype in your radiant sphere is also what gives you access to your core stability in your body. So returning to the body, you do have a lot of leadership and probably a draw to like spread your message and be that transpersonal being. But it's important for you to find that solitude, because it's almost like to share that message, you have to go back and go within and have that solitude for you to get that insight, for you to get the stuff that's in the gap, right? So it's about finding that solitude within yourself and getting those ideas from that place, and leading from that. And then you'll attract the right people into your life to kind of open up that transpersonal pull that you probably feel as well.
And I feel something super important when I look now at both. So there's 18 in Jupiter and in Saturn several times. So what I feel, you have a leadership theme because both your nodes and your personality, Sun and Earth, your fifth line, and then you have the 31 and the 32 several times. Sorry, the 31 and the 41 several times. So for me, there is something with you thinking that perfection is something in the beginning of your life, and then realizing what true integrity and perfection and also how the 18th is working on what being spoiled. So I feel like there is something where you are going to refine what perfection is, what integrity is, and not until you do that in the Jupiter and Saturn, like these big planets, it's really when you're going to be able to express your leadership in the world. So I almost would say study the 18 and what is integrity and perfection for you. And there's something there that looks like a key for in your chart.
Yeah, and her vocation, like her core wound is repression with the Nourisher. It's how can you nourish yourself? There's like an original idea that wants to come forth from you, and if she's constantly looking at it like it's not perfect, it's not ready, she's never going to put it out and be that leader in the world. She's going to keep turning it over again and again and again. And there's something about nourishing your mind, nourishing your mind, nourishing your body. 18 programs. The IQ and the gene keys. So I would really look at your beliefs as well, even though it does come out of this center. It's what programs the IQ in the gene keys. So I would really look at how you're nourishing your mind and your body and empowering yourself to be that creator. And you really have to embrace your body, because to be able to bring this through, you have to be completely in your body. And I had a client today, and I was like, a lot of people resist being completely in their body. We like full fragment ourselves. So the way that you need to do that again is to tap into that inventor archetype and to have that solitude and aloneness and give that to yourself, figuring out what you need to do to nourish yourself so that you can share these inventive and amazing ideas and creations with the world. Just don't beat yourself up too much. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Faith. Faith just shared her human design profile. Let's see what she has. I see 27 in her this is attraction, right? Yeah, in her attraction sphere. So 27.3 in her attraction sphere.
So I mean, what I see here is a role model, and again, it comes from being grounded in the body, being grounded even like in, you're here to feel a lot, but you're not here to make decisions from your emotions. You're here to feel a lot. You're grounded in your body. You're grounding in being able to focus and being still. You also have a lot of that channel, which is a tribal channel that has to do with the Nourisher, and also what we are calling the maestro. But it's the person who can make sure that the orchestra doesn't play in a false way. So I see again how important it is for a generator to be grounded in your body. For you, it's a little bit different. I mean, I wouldn't say you don't know your truth in the now, but I would say when you feel like you're in an emotional wave, sleep on it, because you have a lot of activations in that emotional center. So allow things to kind of neutralize out before you start to correct. Your Pluto is 18. So if you try to correct things before waiting out the emotions or before being still in that 952, I think you could create a little bit of problems for yourself. And then Ashley, what would you say about the open throat with all these activations? How would you interpret that?
Let's see, 45, 33, 8, 35. Responding, it's just, again, I feel like don't respond on your emotions. Like you were saying, since you're an emotional authority, really let yourself sleep on it. And if you're going to say anything, you want to make sure you're not mirroring. Like if you're a second line, right? You have a 6-2. You want to make sure in that relationship and in that mirroring, if you are triggered or they're triggered, like we're not going to be reflecting or projecting anything back at the person that isn't going to benefit the situation. So I would just say, like, allow yourself to have time before you respond. And let's see, with the 35, 45, you do it in a unique way. I mean, you have the 8 and the 33. It's like there's a lot to choose from for how you're going to respond. And it's kind of cool to see all this openness. I was thinking more along the lines of, like, with the Nourisher, how can she nourish herself? So you said about waiting until that emotional wave calms down. What can we say? How do you nourish the other parts of her design, like her open G, her open will, her open mind, and ajna? Like how are we nurturing that, and how can she come into her body, since she is the second line in her body? So what would you say to nourishing?
27 is sexuality, intimacy. It's what we call the sphere of attraction in the gene keys. So for you, nourishing would come through sexuality, intimacy, and it would be a playful type. It will be a playful type of intimacy. If it gets boring, you're probably getting like dry in your body too. So I would almost say for you, focus on being in the sacral energy more. I also see, this is interesting, again back to the throat, you have Mercury in 39.3. This is what we call the sphere of relating. And here you have the line of assimilation. So when there is dissonance or conflict, and then people start to give each other feedback, but then people kind of want to leave and leave it at that. You're really good to kind of sit in the fire and make people come together and be like, okay, what is the next step, and make people come into the heart, so that the feedback is not just, this is what I think about you, you did that, but actually make people sit with discomfort, so that there can be a more true sharing from the heart. So I see, and the 39 has to do with provocation. I see you when you're really grounded in your body, in your emotions, in your instinct. You're really good, really good at seeing the big picture in your 17 of what's going on. You have that like tribal, your South Node has that tribal leader thing, and I feel like you are going to be able to like solve problems because you're not afraid of going there and of holding space, and you're a role model. That's kind of what I see in kind of the role and what they're doing with that open throat.
Awesome. Thank you, Faith, for sharing your chart with us. Moving to Eliza. Let's see. She has the Nourisher in her evolution. Let's see. In her evolution. Anywhere else? No, just her evolution. So she is a 3/5 with the Nourisher in her evolution sphere. Well, with the partner being the risk taker and it being a third line, it's like, I feel like you're trying out, and I see that you don't have the 38. So are you taking the risks? Are you haphazardly taking them? Are you kind of resistant to taking them? Because the 38 is the warrior archetype. This one's going to go to battle. It's going to want to do that. And the 28 is the risk taker. But it knows which ones are worth taking the risk for. But if you're doing that too much, are you risking yourself? Like with the, are you putting yourself in the back burner, or are you not nourishing yourself? Or, what's happening with the nourisher being in the evolution? Are you being either selfish and not thinking of others? Or are you being like selfless in a detrimental way where you're not taking care of yourself because you're out taking so many different risks, worrying about failure, and then judging yourself? And that is going to generate stress. You can see this pattern going on with what's my purpose? Am I going to fulfill it? I need to put myself out there, but it's so tireless in trying to do that and trying to be that leader and trying to have that expansion and all that. It could force, there's so much that could drive you. It's like a very energetic design that you have, even though you're not an energy type. You're going to burn out. You're going to burn yourself out. So I would just say, that's why this is in your evolution, is because you're here to learn how to nurture yourself. And if you put yourself last continuously, you're going to burn yourself out. What would you say, Bella?
Yeah, I would say the completely open heart, or the G again, and the completely open emotions. Like, how are you dealing with those two centers? I see that these are places where you could help people to see, are they looking for love or direction outside themselves? And when you have gone through that yourself, so that you don't do that, I could see how you would reflect that back to people and help them. And the same thing with emotions. How can you reflect to people to have them coming back more into that G actually that is completely open? There is something with a pearl in the culture where I see those are splenic gates, and that there could be a kind of strive for perfection. And there could be, even the 28 is also splenic gate. So kind of this, there's an illusion. The ring of illusions is 28 and the 32. So I'm wondering if there could have been like panic in you, some kind of panic in you to get it right, and to, either afraid of living or afraid of dying without living, or all of these questions. I would look at the codon ring of illusion and listen to, if you can, the 32 and the 28 that Richard has done recordings about. Because I think that those two, when that ring of illusion is in a higher frequency, I think that's when your true leadership in the 31 and your radiance is really going to come through. And if you haven't gotten the 28 and the 32 right, I'm afraid that you will be, like Ashley was saying, you will kind of be on that pathway of challenge, living out the low frequencies of the 28 and the 27. So I would really want you to kind of crack the code of illusion, so you can ground into your radiance and your purpose and really be that leader that is grounded in your knowing, your anticipation of what's coming.
Yeah. And I would say if the Nourisher was going to say anything to you that you can start right now, I would definitely recommend voice training. I would definitely recommend mantras. I would definitely recommend singing. Because that fifth line in your body, what it needs is the way that you're going to connect to the leaders and your leadership is through your voice, but you have to be in the right frequency to even pull those through. And your energy can get really fragmented by connecting into the leaders of the past, present, and future. What I've noticed is a lot of people that I talk to that have the 41 and 31, especially in their activation sequence, their energy is so fragmented all over the place. So if you can breathe that into yourself, and if you can kind of bring that vibration or that tone into your body, like just whatever sound you need to make, like a and just imagine like all that collecting into your throat, it might help a lot. So I'd say a lot of stuff with your throat would be very nourishing for you.
Yeah, and last thing, wherever you can find the stillness and the relaxation that you didn't have as a child, I would really recommend tapping into that and give that to yourself, because I feel like as a 3-5-2, everything is moving all the time. You are wanting that stillness. You want to feel that relaxation. And that's also, I feel, where intimacy and these things and the heart is going to open up for you. So allow yourself that, although you have a lot of fire in your 3-5 profile.
Thank you, Eliza. Okay, moving to Susan. Same cross, flipped.
I remember having done Susan Living Matrix group a while ago, but I don't remember her chart, of course. But I remember I was like, wow, this is cool. The 6 twice, for example, in the Pearl. So I want to make sure I don't do the same. I don't say the same basic things. I kind of want to.
Well, just move to the Nourisher, and she has the Nourisher and the Inventor. So with the Inventor being in her heart and it being a first line, what would the Inventor say to her? What would the Nourisher say to her?
I mean, it is safe to have gaps where time disappears. It's safe to it's safe to even let go of the repetitive thinking. I guess it's like there is something about safety and that the 24 is so individual and it's so like everywhere. Whoever has the 24 is different everywhere. There's a uniqueness to it. And I feel like for you, it's connected to the purity in the vocation. So there's like a unique purity that can come through for you. But it only comes when you feel safe and when you have used probably humor to overcome that core wound of shame. You have so much purity, yet there's like almost like there's a veil of shame that could make you not feel that purity in yourself. So that's something that, and it's connected to also your IQ. That was a 59 as well. So I see something in the middle of the chart, and I feel like maybe you have the 6, Ashley. There's something with a conflict with these very things that I was saying. There's a conflict, but it's going to it feels like when it opens up, when that 12.3 opens up, when you feel safe enough so that you can trust in your own purity, that's when the conflicts that were there from the beginning are just going to pop. And your individuality is going, like your individual spark is going to be able to be shared with the world. And then the 6-6 is just going to be like your life is finally going to make sense or something like that. I mean, this is very intuitive. Like it's very like kind of just something like that.
Yeah. Having the 6 and the 1 is like kind of having the foundation and then the end. It's like you have the beginning and the end. So it's and with the 12, I mean, that comes out of the throat and it's super important. I mean, you can empower someone or cut someone with your words. And so having that frequency and working with that frequency so that you're very careful about how in fact you speak to others, how in fact you share your voice, because that and how you speak to yourself, it could trigger conflict within yourself or within what's happening, because you are that leader. You have arrogance, leadership, humility in your life's work. So depending on what frequency you're speaking at, it can either come off really arrogant or people are going to be like, yes, I'm going to listen. And I want to follow. I want it's the second line too. So the leadership happens in that mirroring. And so I guess having, as a fourth line in your body, having the right people around you is important too for fostering health for yourself and well-being for yourself. You have to surround yourself with the right people so that you feel expansive, you feel grounded, you feel nourished by the people you're around. If you don't, then you're going to experience conflict a lot, and you're not going to be able to be in the gap because you're going to have those repetitive thoughts that are going over and over and over in your mind because you don't feel safe. And then of course conflict's going to come up. So I don't know, with the attraction being in 22, I'd say like really investigate emotions, investigate your thoughts, investigate what comes up, like with that friction of allowing people in and out, because that sixth gate is the gate of friction. And so who are you letting in? Because who you're letting in can compromise you at a really deep level. So be discerning about who you're around.
Yeah, I feel the sentence is somehow, it's not to ask others for what you need. It's about asking yourself, what do I need? And give yourself that. That's how your nurture is going to happen. And that's also how the right people are going to show up for you.
Thank you, Susan, for sharing your chart with us. Okay, Alicia. These were kind of screenshots, so bear with the brightness.
Yeah, we don't have the lines in
Well, I mean, the lines are in. She's a 1-3.
1-3. So here, your own empowerment, being really empowered in yourself. When insecurity might be there, but you're here to find your own empowerment, and it's going to be. It's interesting with the 28 and the 27, because the 27 is about care and nourishing, and the 28 is about risk taking. So you have this perfect balance somehow that you need to find about your purpose, the risk that you're going to take, so that you feel like you fulfill your purpose, and then at the same time the nourishing that you need. And these are the ways into your leadership. And your leadership, I feel, is going to be kind of what you bump into, because it's a third line. So for you, the leadership, and it's going to have to do with your attraction. How can you behave? Well, so that how can you behave in the now with presence so that you love yourself? You have that channel 2010, and the 20s in your pearl. So it's all about how can you show up in the now and behave, with presence. And I feel like that's the whole thing. The 20 and the 10 for me is like what you're here to do. And a right portion of risk taking and nourishing, and then just be in the now and behave in a way that you have. Actually, it's the moon. It's the 6th line, I think.
Yeah, 10.6.
So it's like even a role model you are the role model. That's the role model gate. It's like the 6th line is a role model, but the 10th 6 is the gate of the behavior of the self.
Yes.
So it feels like it's not like, of course, there are going to be many things on the way, but the recipe in one sense is quite simple.
You said everything that I was going to say. So thanks. I am looking at, she's a quad right. So I don't know, very receptive, I feel. And let's see, completely open heart center. So
be in the now, right? Take in the now. You are here to be receptive.
Yes. Thank you, Alicia. This is Nikki. Nikki just shared her human design chart. She has, again, we're seeing a lot of this this leadership cross. I don't remember what this one's called, but 4131. She's a 1-3 as well. 27 though, in the purpose sphere, in the unconscious earth.
So self-empowerment again, but knowing that leadership is not anything you can do by yourself, especially not when you have the 31, and it's a detriment. So I think a big thing for you is to realize leadership is not done by yourself. The question that you want to ask or answer is, how can we be empowered together? And then your real purpose and your real nurturing is going to happen. And it's also something that's going to kind of like happen. It's not something you're going to look for. You actually just want to be, how can we be empowered together? And when you feel that, step up to your leadership. But if it's only you on the stage, then it's probably not the right thing.
What would you say about the 24.6 in the attraction sphere? That 6th line in the attraction sphere.
I mean, I feel like there could be a long way to heaven, but that's where you want to go with it. It can be a lot of loops, a lot of behaviors, a lot of different experiences that make you feel like sex is not easy, but because you kind of go over it and go over it and go over it, or you have different relationships that are not satisfactory. So and you also have an open sacral. So when you have intimate relationships, you're going to be kind of flooded by the other, both in the sacral center, the life energy center, and in the emotional center. So you're completely, because that's the two parts of relationships, right? Emotions and life force. So it's important for you to understand what's you and what's the other, and to never give up, like never fall into disappointment, never fall into it's never going to be possible, but actually
have hope.
You have hope, and you have that child of struggle, the 28. It's going to take some time, but the message that you're here to share with the world in the 44-26, it's going to be shared as long as you don't just give up, because you're here to be a role model, you're here to be a leader, you're here to be an empowering leader that can create a world with other people that is a little bit more beautiful than what we know, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikki, for sharing your chart. Therese Ford has, let's see.
I think it is almost the last one.
Is it? Let's see.
No,
but I mean, this is probably going to be the last one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where are we at in time?
I think Therese is like a lot into human design, if I remember right. Maybe I don't. Maybe we should focus on her.
She was very excited about this, so yeah.
Yeah, where to start?
So let me move back up. So we'll probably do Therese. Okay, I want to double check what she has. So I don't see anything in the gene key profile, but it's good to have it. Where is the 27 in South Node unconscious? Yeah. And no 24. So South Node unconscious. The first line.
Well, somehow I go to Pluto and I'm like, there's something about inadequacy, and it even looks like it's the same line on both sides. So I'm wondering where, there's something about inadequacy. And here we have it's a projector with a split. Looking at the 5 as well.
And she's a 4-1 profile.
Oh, that's interesting. So the fixed phase has to do with, you're here to inquire, and like your life is a lifelong inquiry for truth. And if anybody tells you that there's something else you need to do, if that feels right for you, don't do it. You're here to do what you love and inquire about what you love and find the truth about what you love. I would say that's the only thing you need to care about, because that's for the personality sign. When you're 4-1, it's telling your life story. And as a 4-line, you're here to do what you love, and you're here to find your truth. And your truth is about, that's the 4th line, what you're here to serve the world through doing what you love.
Simple, super simple.
And again, we have this theme today. I feel like the open sacral and the open emotional. We have more projectors and reflectors than we've had before. So here again, you're going to have other people's energy coming to your sacral center, and you have the 39.3 in your sexuality, but it's gonna be this provocation from other people. So you're gonna have to learn to find dynamism. You're gonna have to learn to find your playfulness, and not just like feel like you're a victim maybe for other people's promiscuity or playfulness or rage or whatever it is. Because as well, this is another theme, the 44-26. You're here, you have a message to the world. And again, when we look at the pearl, you have both the 8 and the 23, spontaneous expression. So I feel like going out of inadequacy, like transforming the core, like a kind of core within the collective of inadequacy, coming into your pearl and your culture, that is all about your unique expression that can only come when you have investigated in that personality sun, the 63.4. What do you love? What is your truth? What are you here to share through that powerful throat center connected with the G? And taking time to retreat. Like this is what we say too in the 33-13. If you're here to listen deeply, even on an emotional level, you're here to listen deeply. But it's going to take you have a 1st line radiance and purpose, and you have the 33-13. You're going to have to retreat in order to make sense so that you can come back out with the truth and the insight.
Yes. Awesome. One last thing that I would add is in looking at your north and south nodes, and when you get kind of stuck or cling to the nodes over here, I would just invite you to kind of, so if you're stuck in the 27.1, we have the nourisher, right? So how can you nourish yourself when you're like self-sacrificing yourself or putting yourself last for this like venture for truth or whatnot? How do you nourish yourself? I would invite you to let go of maybe the projections of others. With the 32, this one is like, what are you carrying on? And with the fifth line, it's the core wound of guilt. And so like, what are you carrying on from others? Who have they said, what is success? What is failure? You're going to have to reinvent what success and failure is so you can start to nurture yourself and empower yourself. And with the 42, we have endings, death. Like this is our nomad archetype. And for you to stop clinging to this, you're going to have to take some risks. You're going to just have to empower yourself through those risks that you take, because you're going to want to cling to like, again, like, oh, the failures and like the death and ending of things. And I think that could be helpful for you. So, okay, is there anything else you'd say?
I was just going to mention for the 3 next people, because I was scrolling down and the other people had either only human design or gene keys. So maybe take your chance next time if something is in your chart, because you have a lot of, like you have 26 activations, right? Then post maybe both your human design and the gene keys. Maybe you'll be the lucky person we choose then, and then we can go deeper and look at both things. Yeah. Especially for a reflector, I would say it's so helpful. Like, you know, and that's important too. I feel like I am more in integrity when I look at both, because in one it's like, okay, this is what I see right now, and it kind of comes spontaneous. But when I see two charts and 2 systems, it makes me actually find the golden middle way to not go too much into the mechanics of human design, but also not just like pretend that like maybe somebody who is a reflector is going to be super in a certain way just because I see their gene keys. So for me, having both, I feel like I'm more confident in the way that I can interpret it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't get hung up on one system either and say one is better than the other, because you can get stuck in the loophole of here's what Ross said, here's what Richard said, and then you never pull anything in for yourself. So hold on loosely to these systems. They are not end all be all. While they do have value and they do have significance that can come, like there's a lot of wisdom you can pull from these. But I would say you are your own guru. You are your own like authority, source, power, and you can pull through anything you want. Like in me and Bella working with gene keys and human design, we've uncovered other pathways, other ways to look at things that Richard never said and Ron never said. So I would just invite you to allow yourself to be open to other possibilities and other doors coming through this, because I mean, Ra's not here anymore. He can't bring anything else through. And so you've basically learned all you can learn. And Richard can only go so much. Like he's only one man. If you can figure out where you want to look and what you want to figure out for yourself, I say, do it. Pull it. You can channel just like Ra did. You have your own voice to listen to, and you can be like Richard and you can channel through the stars. I mean, however you want to do it, you are able to do it. These people are not superhuman. You are amazing and you can do it too. So that's kind of what I would say to that.
Yeah, and I mean, when I hear us speak, we often say like, I feel like, you know, we are doing it through our filter, through our vessel, and we don't say this is how it is. This is like you are this or you're that, and that's important to be like we're actually asking you questions a lot. I feel like this would be interesting to hear you speak about this, and that's also why we love to have people on, and that's why we've started to do now the Illuminated Archetype, where we spend 45 minutes, even longer this week we did with somebody, so that we can have you, and we are a sounding board, kind of going back and forth, and then we're not going to put on you something that doesn't feel like you. So these are like little tasters of what it can be. But the most beautiful thing is for us both actually meet together, actually with a third person, to have that trinity of conversation where things kind of unfold in the now. And that's like what I feel as a generator, I always feel more energy after those calls of all 3 of us. So I kind of always want to have Ashley with me now when I work.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it's definitely exciting and fun. And I feel like I don't know, with me and Bella both having the 16, it's really about enthusiasm and like drawing on our versatility. Like we have a lot of wisdom in different places. And so when we can bring the things that we've mastered or that we're good at and pull them together as some kind of like smorgasbord, it's going to make it that much more richer. So, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. And I apologize. No, I don't apologize for not getting to everybody. I feel like I'm really appreciative for everybody that shared, but as this gets more popular, we're probably not going to be able to get everybody that comments. So if you do end up being one of the lucky few, it was your time. So thanks again for submitting, and please join Living Matrix or Your Life by Design. We'll be posting something for the next transit, which will be the second, archetype, and that will be launching soon as well. So look for those posts. If you do have the second gene key or gate in Human Design or Gene Key, look for that and submit your Human Design and or Gene Key chart. And again, join us next Tuesday for another episode of Illuminated Archetype. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, even though it was very late. I appreciate your presence, and I appreciate everybody watching the replay. Thank you so much, and thank you, Bella.
Thank you. Bye.